You ready? All right, thank you all for being here. Good win last Thursday night. Seems like a long time ago versus a very well-coached Georgia State team. Gets us to 5-1 overall, 3-0 in the Sun Belt, more importantly 2-0 in our division as we try to play in this inaugural conference championship game. Hit recap of the game quickly. Special teams-wise, negatives, we had 3 penalties on special teams, 2 on our kickoff unit, and then 1 that negated a huge punt return for us. We did allow 1 punt return by Georgia State. I think we've done a really good job covering. Thought we fell asleep a little bit. Didn't cover as well on the one that Penny Hart got out on us. Thankfully, he stepped out of bounds. Positives, I thought in the both return units gave the offense good field position. Really proud of Marcus Jones and Sedarius Rookert. I thought they did a great job fielding punts versus a kid that had been leading the country in punting average. Kickoff, Bratcher Underwood continues to have a great senior season. A number of touchbacks. And then we made all our PATs. So defensively, I think if you talk about the negatives first, 4th down conversions, I think they went 3 for 4 on us. And we got to do a better job in the secondary, breaking on balls, making more competitive plays, just playing better fundamental football in the secondary. The positives are our rush defense, 3.3 yards per carry. We created two takeaways, 2 forced fumbles that led to 14 points by the offense, and very few explosive plays. And when you have a player like Penny Hart, and a couple of those wideouts. You know, Penny caught a couple of contested go balls on us, but other than that, they didn't have a whole lot of explosive plays. And I thought especially in the first half, that was the best we've played defensively, definitely since Nebraska. Offensively, the negatives, the goal line situation where we didn't get it in, had a chance to make it, I think 28-0 there early in the second quarter. Didn't get it in. That was disappointing. Then we had a lull there in the second, early in the third. We just lost focus, just mental errors that we shouldn't be making at this point in the season. Then we had 7 penalties, which is extremely disappointing. We got to play more discipline. The positives are 8.9 yards per play, 337 yards rushing, 200 yards rushers. That's the second time in 2 weeks that we've done that. And we had four plays of 50-plus yards and a number of explosive plays. And we were really good on third down. So those were the positives. Players of the week. Last week for us, special teams, and this is more of a cumulative award for us than it is just this week. He's done a great job with his operation times, but also in punt coverage, and that's Cameron Kay. Our offensive lineman of the week was Deontay Crumity. The best game he's played this year, had the highest grade. I thought he played with better body position. He got movement at the point of attack. And proud of how he's progressing. Offensive Player of the Week had several candidates, and Caleb had a great first quarter. B.J. Smith goes for around 100 yards, but I thought the guy that maybe made the biggest play of the game and the guy that played extremely hard and is one of our leaders on offense was Damian Willis. And then defensively, a guy that didn't miss any tackles, got us lined up in the secondary, and thought I handled their formation adjustments, their motion very well from his safety position, and that's Melvin Tyus. Scout Team Players of the Week, which, again, I say this all the time, but every week we win, we recognize these guys, and they do a great job, and they're critical to our program. On special teams, Craig Slocum, a guy that has earned him some playing time. He's going to be in the mix on special teams this week. On offense, the Scout Team Player of the Week was Jonathan Ortner, a guy that had some injuries back in fall camp, finally getting healthy, and he did a great job getting our defense ready last week. And then defensively, Micah Murphy. I think the week before he was Special Teams Player of the Week, just a guy that's really dependable, gives us great looks, takes a real keen interest in giving us the proper looks at his safety position on defense. The Corey McCullers Spirit Award, and I'll say this, I thought what we call our juice squad on the sideline was the best we've had this year. I thought it was great. And the guy that won the Corey McCullers Spirit Award was Kyle Colt, who's one of our backup kickers, and he's done a great job. And I thought he had a ton of energy on Saturday. And then our Nathan Harris Service Award is Travius Harris. And Travius, a guy that's grown tremendously over the last 2 years as a person, and he did a great job giving back to our community. So those are the players of the week. Kind of wrapping up the Georgia State game, big win. Finished up that 2-game homestand that I thought was going to be a critical juncture in our season. We went 2-0, but the win came with cost. And Tryon Folsom, who's one of our leaders on defense, He's questionable for the game. We'll know later in the week. And then Caleb Barker tore his ACL. He'll be out for the season. He's going to have surgery on Friday. Hate it for him because I think his first quarter on Thursday night was probably, and we've had a bunch of really good quarterbacks, but I think that's probably as good as any quarterbacks played in my 8 years here, the first quarter. And so hate it for him. Disappointed for him. He's down about it. He's going to have a good mindset. Like I said, Dr. Dugas is going to do his surgery on Friday. He'll have a full recovery, and he'll attack that head on. We'll move. Unfortunately, he's already played too many games of redshirt. So, but he's getting the surgery early, and he'll be back and hopefully throwing for us in spring ball. Just like we say all the time, we've got to be a next man up program, and Sawyer Smith will get the start on Saturday, and then we're going to get Gunnar Watson. He'll be available in the game. He will play in the game on Saturday. So with that leading into Liberty, excited about getting on the road this week to Lynchburg. Never been there. Heard really good things about their crowd support, especially their students. First year fully in the FBS after a very successful run in the FCS, led by Turner Gill, who's one of the most respected men in college football. If you look at them from a special team standpoint, I think they do a really good job. They blocked a punt against New Mexico. I think their punt team is really solid. I think the punter does a good job of directional punting, moves the ball around, and they've been successful kicking the football as well. The kickoff guy has got a lot of touchbacks. Offensively, they're very explosive. I think it all starts with their quarterback, Calvert, and they've got a receiver, number 11, Antonio Gandy Golden, and another one in Stubbs. They've got a really deep receiving core. They're averaging nearly 500 yards per game, 33 points, over 140 yards rushing, and 340 yards passing. And they're going to challenge. It's going to be a huge challenge for us defensively, especially in the secondary. Defensively, an improving unit. They played against some very good offense early in the season. They got a veteran group. If you go and look at their depth chart, a lot of guys played in 20-plus games, and they've won a lot. I think which makes them dangerous. Not only have they played, but they've won a lot in the Big South Conference there. The guys that really stick out to me on defense is number 14, their Mike linebacker. I think he's physical, flies around. He's their leading tackler. And then they've got two defensive ends that have done a good job getting pressure, number 54 and number 11. We've got to definitely account for where they're going to be. But, again, a good challenge for us. We're looking forward to getting on the road. Going to navigate some things weather-wise this week and get our guys ready and be able to be ready to play one of our better games. So with that, I'll answer questions.
Yeah, can you just talk about when in that game the injury occurred to Caleb?
Not sure. It happened sometime in the first quarter, and not real sure if it was one direct cut or direct hit or anything like that, or if it was something that maybe it already had. You just don't know. The MRI shows the tear, and he needs to get it fixed. But it happened. Whatever the final event happened sometime in that first quarter there.
What would this mean, game plan approach heading to Liberty with Sawyer under center? Will that change anything, or is it kind of just a plug-and-go type situation?
Yeah, it's going to be a plug-and-go. What all it's going to change is Sawyer's the starter now, and Gunner's going to be number 2. We strongly believe, because of situations like this, and getting our number 2 quarterback ready. If you look at over our 4 previous years, we've always done that. Our number 2 quarterback, we've been intentional about getting in the game, usually in the second quarter at some point, and they've played a number of snaps. Sawyer's played in every game we've had this year. He's had success, played in a number of games as a true freshman and had success. And then Gunner got in the game, I think, in the fourth quarter there against FAMU and did a good job. And he'll get in this game and have some opportunities in the game Saturday versus Liberty. So it's just plug and play. We're not changing what we're doing. Unfortunately, we've been in this position before. In 2008, Jamie Hampton was our starter, and he tears his ACL. And it was earlier in the year, so he was able to still get a red shirt. But down at FAU, ironically, in a midweek game, and he tears his ACL, and Levi Brown comes in, and the rest is kind of history. And our team and our coach staff got a ton of confidence both in Sawyer and in Gunner. Yes.
Just touching up on the first and second question, did he play after on the torn ACL?
I have no idea. We'll make Caleb available at some point. We don't think so. I mean, it wasn't a deal where we don't believe that he furthered the injury. It was after his last touchdown pass to DeAndre, which was a dime. I mean, he threw. As good a pass as he's had. He came off and said his knee didn't feel quite right. And he's torn an ACL before, so he knows he understands his body and he knows what it feels like. And yes, it was. And he said it didn't feel right. And we have some of the best medical care in college athletics, I believe. With our trainer, Allison Gramley, and her team, and then Dr. Jeff Dugas. And we didn't put him back in the game. He had an MRI on Friday that confirmed what Allison and Dr. Dugas both suspected. And over the weekend came up with a plan moving forward.
You mentioned Tron as another guy. Beyond those two, how healthy are you? You said it was that week 6 was kind of cumulative.
It was. It's when injuries come, they come in bunches, Ken. If you look back, we kind of went through last year really healthy all the way to game 12. And against Arkansas State, it's like we lost, I think, 7 guys during the game, and then we were down 5 of those or something like that in the bowl game. So we had several that went out of the game on Thursday night. I do think most of those guys are going to be back. A couple of them are going to be touch and go. Tristan Crowder will be back, and he'll play. We're kind of waiting on the Nixon brothers, Kevin and Kyle. We'll know more about them probably midweek.
You did mention Tron questionable for Saturday. If he can't go Saturday, how big of a disadvantage will that be to the defense not having him out there?
Well, I think it's a disadvantage anytime you don't have one of your better players, But we do believe that we've recruited well. We do believe that we have really good depth. We make it a point in spring practice and in fall camp to get a ton of guys reps, and we continue to do that during the season as well. So A.J. Smiley came in and played his best that he's ever played on the defensive side of the ball. He's been a great special teams contributor for us in kind of a backup role on defense, but he came in and played a ton of reps on defense and played really, really well. And we do have some depth at those linebacker positions where we can move some guys around, and we'll miss Tron, but we feel like the next guy will step up and be productive.
You guys have all the confidence in Sawyer, but how great is it now? If Barker is out, but having B.J. Smith playing as well as he has these last couple weeks.
Yeah, and B.J.'s played really well. Jabir didn't play as well this week, but he played extremely high level the previous week. And both those guys, we got a lot of faith in them. And that's what we're not going to change what we're doing. I hate it for Caleb. We're going to be fine as a football team and as a football program. I hate it for him because I think he was just now scratching the surface of what he could be, and to have it happen after he played so well, and I'm not even exaggerating. That's as well played of a first quarter in the 8 years that I've been here, and we've had a bunch of them. We've had multiple conference player of the years playing quarterback. We've had draft pick. But that's as good a first quarter as any quarterback in my 8 years here. Was played. So disappointed for him. Also really believe in the fact that I know I know what his work ethic's about. I know what his makeup's about, and I do believe, and not just believe, I know that he will come back after this surgery and be stronger than ever and really pick up where he left off.
And you talked about after the press conference, Sawyer didn't get a lot of reps because of the short week.
Yeah.
How does this help now having extra time for him? Is this helpful?
Well, we gave the guys off on Friday and Saturday. We practiced last night. So him getting the most reps, and honestly, during the course of a normal week, he had been getting a solid number of reps. Last week he didn't get as many because we only practiced one day. For all intents and purposes, we had walkthroughs, but we only really practiced on Monday of last week. But it'll benefit him. It'll benefit him, and we've got time to get he and Gunner both ready to play.